Hey, Eric here from 5minuteinvesting.com, and this video it's about 2020 stock market investing guide for doctors. So if you're a doctor, then this video is made for you. Now, let's talk about your current situation. If you are opening your own clinic or you're running your own business, then chances are you need to save for your retirement. Now, you don't have a corporate pension plan like some of the other professions like accountants, engineers, and so on. So you need to plan for your own retirement. And month to month, you need to save up some money for your retirement. Now, you have a full-time job and running a clinic can be quite time consuming. So you're definitely not looking to short-term trade or day trade. And I think that's pretty important because you want to focus on long-term. Now, you may have some debt, whether that is student loan from your doctor's degree, so you might need to clear that first. So let's talk about your strength. Now, you're very smart. You're a doctor, you got your degree, and so on. So you'll have a good understanding of pharmaceutical companies. So when you're investing in the market, I think pharmaceutical companies will be your strength, so you can do more research around that area. Now, it's pretty obvious, but then wait till we get to the weakness. Now, you have a very high, steady income, whether you're in Canada, US, or other countries. You're at the top 1% of the income earners. Now, so it is relatively easy for you to save. Now, you're a doctor, and chances are you are also risk averse. That means you don't want to take on too much risk, but you also want to get as a high return as possible. Now, because you have such a high income, you can become what they call an accredited investor to access opportunities that majority cannot. So accredited investor means that you have net assets greater than 1 million. Now, if you're over 30, maybe even over 35, chances are you are qualified and you are an accredited investor. That means you can invest in private equity funds, you can invest in startups, you can invest in a lot of things that most people cannot invest in. And you also have the option to hire a financial advisor to manage your money for you. So if you want a completely passive approach, hands off, don't worry about it, then you can hire basically, a financial advisor to manage your entire portfolio for you. Now, here's your weakness, and I think these are there's some pretty crucial ones. So the first one is really you don't have a financial background. Now, if you are investing in startups, if you're investing in some of the riskier investments, you don't have the financial background to tell whether it is a good investment or not. So you need to be careful there. You don't have understanding of stock markets, charts, and patterns. Compared to some of the other professionals that are more analytical, they will be spending a lot more time in looking for patterns within the stock markets. Now, because you have a doctor background, chances are you don't have an understanding in this area. Now, because you have a high income, it is very likely that you also have a high lifestyle expense. And if you don't have a habit on saving, then you have low amounts of saving, and that will lead to a delay in retirement. But there is a relatively simple solution. Because you have a very high income, you just need to set aside some money every month and then save. And in a very short amount of time, you can save a lot more money than some of the other professionals out there. Now, the fourth one is really you don't have a retirement plan. Now, this is pretty crucial because when I look at doctors and when I compare to other people like finance professionals, why do finance professionals retire earlier than doctors when doctors make a higher income than finance professionals? And it's really about a retirement plan. For finance professionals, because they're more in tune with money, they are in the market and they see where the opportunities are, they plan for their retirement earlier. So even though doctors have a high income, but if you don't think about your retirement plan 20, 30 years down the line, you are going to continue to be working until 65 or 67, depending on where you are. Now, I'm not saying working is bad, but I just think that is quite useful to plan ahead, especially you have the golden opportunity to save and invest. And you might be spending too much time to learn investing and trying to reinvent the wheel. Now, this is quite an important one because as a doctor, your dollar per hour is actually really high. So you're making quite a bit of money. So if you spend your time trying to read a lot of books and trying to reinvent the wheel because there's a lot of misinformation out there in the market, it might not be worth your while instead of following someone who has done it before. Now, there's also another weakness where you might select a bad financial advisor. And there are a lot of stories out there saying, I chose this financial advisor and he actually lost money for me instead of making money. Now, on average, if you invest in the stock market, you should expect somewhere between 4% to 6% return a year if you are choosing relatively safe investments. Now, if you are making less than 4%, then chances are there are some problems within your portfolio. If you are making a negative return, that is even worse. So you need to, look at that and manage your money, even though you hired a financial advisor. Now you might be getting a low return because you're not using options to invest, which is a form of leverage. Now for options, it's really a way to leverage and multiply your return in the market. So what is considered to be a low return? A low return is anywhere below 10%. So if you are not using leverage, then I think a return you can aim at is really around 6 to 7%. But if you are using leverage to invest, then I think you should aim for somewhere between 20% a year to 30% a year. That's a pretty good range to aim for. And because you're a doctor, you might get access to special opportunities like startups and so on. So you might be tempted to invest in startups with poor fundamentals, such as like a private investment. You might be an angel investor. You might be kind of a late stage angel investor, like a VC as well. But essentially, you are buying stock in a company that is not public. They're not turning a profit yet. So those are pretty risky. And when you look at startup, I think 90% of them fail. And very few of them make it big like Google and Facebook and so on. So you want to be careful because you really want to understand, what the startup does and how that is going to be monetized, how they're going to make money. And if you don't really understand those aspects, then it's quite dangerous being an angel investor. Okay, so what is your opportunity? Your opportunity is really to master one single long-term investing strategy. So this is probably the most efficient way for you to master investing, is to choose one proven strategy that can generate somewhere between 20% to 30%, and then just master that one. Because you are a doctor, because you have quite a high income, once you saved up the portion of your income, then you are in a pretty good shape. And second is really about learning how to use leverage to multiply your return. And you're going to see that I mention leverage a lot on my channel. And I really think that leverage is one of the ways where it helps people accelerate their growth in portfolio. And you want to aim for somewhere between 30% a year. If you are investing in real estate and if you use leverage, you can make somewhere between 30 to 50%. But if you are saving in between buying your second or third property, then chances are you want to invest in the market, so you're making some return there. So if you're using leverage, then I think 30% is a pretty good target to aim for. Now, there are really two ways you can go about it. The first way is that you learn by yourself, which I think is incredibly inefficient for you given that you are a high income earner. So instead, I think you should get coaching from somebody who has done it before, somebody who can target a return of 30% or more. For myself, I've been making around 55% for the last 4 years, and I do have a coaching program. So my investing strategy is long-term investing using stock options. You can actually Google, or you can learn more about stock options and understand what that is. If you want to learn about how I invest in the markets, you can actually click on the first link below in the description, and that will take you to a free case study where you can watch a webinar of me explaining my investing strategy. And if that really interests you, then you can join my coaching program called Investing Accelerator. So in Investing Accelerator, there are mainly 3 parts. The first part is you learn step by step how to invest, a complete single long-term investing approach using stock options to multiply your profits. And then afterwards, we have weekly group coaching calls where we go through any investments or any questions you have. And you can also see what other students are investing as well. And then the third part is really a private Facebook community where all the students are a part of, so then you can bounce ideas off of each other. So it's a pretty great community, and then we all share the same investing approach. So if that's something that interests you, then you can click on one of the links below to schedule a phone call with me so you can ask me any questions you have. And if you want to try one of the modules of Investing Accelerator, then I strongly recommend you to go down below and join the free chart course. And that helps you understand the patterns and set up your charts when you're investing in the market. And we do have a couple of doctors in the program, so I'm quite sure you're going to enjoy it as well. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you like this video, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And you can leave a comment below to let me know if there are any questions or any other videos you want to see on my channel. So that's pretty much it, and I'll see you in the next video.